Hi, this is Smart Drivers Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you tonight about frequently asked questions, the questions that I get almost on a weekly, daily basis about passing a driver's test. Okay, first thing that I get with new drivers who are taking a driver's test, ask if your turns are too wide or you're having difficulty centering the vehicle in the roadway or whatever is happening with vehicle control in space and place, slow speed maneuvers in place. And what I mean by where your vehicle is in space and place, it teaches you where your vehicle is in relationship to fixed objects and other road users. So in other words, where is it? Where is it in relation to other cars and trucks on the roadway? That's the first thing. The second thing that slow speed maneuvers teach you is mastery of the primary controls, the steering wheel, the brake, and the throttle, or how to use those well in traffic so that you're not confusing one with the other. So spend the time with the slow speed maneuvers. Doing slow speed maneuvers in driving is comparable to doing scales in music. It's comparable to doing exercises in sports. You must do these to improve your driving skills. And the other thing with working in a parking lot and doing slow speed maneuvers, as it says here on the slide, it allows you to focus on one aspect of driving at a time without being overwhelmed by traffic on the roadways and what other road users are doing. All right. The second one is steering wheel control, hand to hand or hand over hand. Most places in the world now do hand over hand steering, okay? And I was watching a video of one of my colleagues who's teaching driving in the UK there, and even they have dispensed with the push-pull method. They will allow you to do hand over hand in the UK and other places in Europe. I advocate hand over hand. It's much faster. The hand to hand or the push-pull method is just too slow for getting the vehicle around corners and those types of things. The other thing is that yes, you can allow that steering wheel to slide back through your hands, but you have to keep the palms of your hands in contact with the steering wheel. Don't just let go of the steering wheel whee, and go around the corner. You have to keep your hands in contact with the steering wheel. So as long as you just keep your palms in contact, open your fingers, when the steering wheel stops moving, just grab a hold of it again and then correct and then carry on with your day. You're going to be fine with that. The next one, freeway merging. How do I get on the freeway when it's bumper to bumper traffic? You come down the ramp, you pick your space, you put your signal on as early as you can, and you match speed with the traffic on the freeway. Put your signal on and pick your space and hold your position to get into that space. Eventually the vehicle behind you will get freaked out by your signal on, and you hug the left hand side of your lane, the merging lane, and that way you can kind of force your way into the position, but the vehicle behind you will eventually let you in. If they don't let you in, the next one behind them will. So that's how you get onto a busy freeway. What is the tolerance for speed? Can I go 5 miles an hour over on my speed limit? Yes, you can, but not for very long. You have to understand that your speed control works in tandem with your scanning pattern. You must have a scanning pattern far down the road, both shoulders in, check the center mirror, far down the road, check your instrument panel, and so on and so forth. Check your wing mirrors. And that scanning pattern has to repeat every 8 to 12 seconds. What that tells the examiners right away is that you are not having a proper scanning pattern in place because you're not adjusting your speed. So yes, you can go 5 miles an hour over, but within 15 seconds, you should be adjusting that speed, and that's what they're looking for. Okay, and you must drive the posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less on the purposes of your driver's test. And remember, space management trumps speed management. So you need to keep space 2 to 3 second following distance, and if you can't keep that, then you need to reduce your speed, is what I'm saying for the purposes of a driver's test. Shoulder checking. You must shoulder check on a driver's test. If you don't shoulder check, you're not going to be successful. It doesn't matter whether you have blind spot detectors or you have convex mirrors on your vehicle. You still have to shoulder check 90 degrees to the left when you're turning left or moving left. Same with the right when you're moving left or same with the right when you're turning right or changing lanes to the right. And you have to do it twice for every time. And if you don't do it, you're not going to be successful on a driver's test, period. So shoulder check, shoulder check. Left turning position. Where do I stop to make a left-hand turn? Stop with your front steer tires on the front crosswalk line. That way you're committed to the intersection, but you're not in the intersection if something goes wrong. You're sitting there, the gap comes, You then move into the intersection to meet the gap so that you have a bit of speed when you make your left-hand turn, and you're reducing the amount of time that you're in the oncoming traffic. And so stopping positions at controlled intersections as a general rule is before the stop line, before the crosswalk line or sidewalk, or at the edge where the two roads meet. The position of the stop sign has nothing to do with where you stop your vehicle at a controlled intersection. All right, so know that for the purposes of a driver's test. 3 possible positions, none of them have anything to do with the stop sign position. Move to the right lane immediately after making a left-hand turn. And I had a question from Brianne this week. She got misinformation. Her driving instructor told her not to move back over to the right-hand lane immediately, and that is misinformation. And for my friend Alla, who's taking driver's test tomorrow, make sure that you move back over to the right-hand lane as soon as you finish making a left-hand turn. Because for the purposes of a driver's test, you are going the posted speed limit. You are driving slower than the traffic flow. Therefore, you need to be in the right-hand lane so other traffic can move past you. As well, for the purposes of a driver's test, as I told Brianne, that driving examiners do the same test route 10, 15 times a day, every day of the week. So they know exactly where you're going. They give you lots of notice on a driver's test. They're not going to try and trick you. So if they want you to turn left after you turn left a couple of blocks down the road, they're going to give you lots of notice that after you make the left-hand turn, I want you to make another left 2 blocks down the road. So they will tell you to stay in the left-hand lane. If they don't tell you to turn left a couple of blocks down the road, then move over to the right-hand lane immediately. Okay, backing. Can I use a backup camera for the purposes of a driver's test? Yes, you can use a backup camera, but you cannot use it as your main line of sight. You check your backup camera as you would your mirrors, give it a quick check, and then look out the rear window for the purposes of reversing and backing up for the duration that you're backing up. And for every vehicle car length, pause, do your 360-degree scans, and then continue to back up again, okay? Most maneuvers are not gonna be more than a car length, but if they are, stop the vehicle, have another look, and that way you're gonna be safe, and you're going to do it according to the skills and techniques and abilities that you need for the purposes of your driver's test. Signaling on a 3-point turn. Anytime that you reverse, anytime that you're going forward, make sure that you are signaling, all right? And the way that I teach 3-point turn is that when you get to the center point of the roadway to straighten your tires out, the reason I do that is so that you don't have to do as much steering when you get to the far side of the road or come back to this side of the road. When you're doing slow speed maneuvers, the other thing that will help you out for new drivers is to put a piece of tape at the top of your steering wheel. That way you know where your steering wheel is at a glance, so you know whether your steer tires are straight or whatnot, and that will really help you out with your slow speed maneuvers and with your reversing. Hit the curb for parallel parking. Will I fail if I hit the curb? If you hit the curb and knock the examiner out of his or her seat, yes, you will fail your driver's test. If you touch the curb lightly and then readjust, that's not a fail on a driver's test. But as I said, if it's like this car here where you drove up over the hood of the car behind you, yes, that's definitely a fail on your driver's test. Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Catherine, 3 weeks to my test. So excited, but so nervous. Yes, excellent. Lots of time to practice there, Catherine. And the other thing, Catherine, is if you have some time, go and get some of those cones. Revisit the slow speed maneuvers in the parking lot. That will really help to get that solidified in your head as well. It'll just revisit the fundamentals and the basics of driving, and then you can go back out and start working on your traffic stuff again. Morad, interested in CDL, Seattle tips to pass. Morad. Basically, there's 5 components to any CDL license, okay? So it's turning, shifting, pre-trip inspection, backing, and then coupling. So hooking the trailer and unhooking the trailer. Those are the 5 components that you need to work with. There's a video here somewhere on the channel, 5 questions to ask a truck driving school, and I would definitely ask those questions. The first and foremost question that I would get you to ask a truck driving school: are you one-on-one with a driving instructor for the duration of your course? You don't want to be passed around between driving instructors at a truck driving school. And it's less the norm than truck driving schools where they move you around between different instructors. And that's very unfortunate in my opinion, because different driving, like what I say to students, you show me 50 to drive a truck, I'll show you 50 ways to teach a student how to drive a truck too. Because every driving instructor has different language, they have different ideas about how to drive the truck, what you should be doing, how to pass the driver's test. So it's just confusing to the student. There's so much that you have to learn in such a short period of time that if you can stay with one instructor, it's just going to be so much easier. So find a driving school that will put you with one instructor for the duration of your course. SA, I just wanted to say thank you for your videos. You're most welcome. Lola, I really benefited from all the lessons you have given us in driving. Awesome. So glad that we can help out. That's really great. Margaret, there are a lot of railroad crossings without any warning lights near me, and sometimes a train might go by. Should I slow down for the crossings or keep at the normal speed? Margaret, you should keep at the normal speed, but you should be scanning the railway crossing as you're approaching. So you should be looking off to the right and off to the left. One of the other things, Margaret, that I would also counsel you to do, and Corey will get the video up for you on a running commentary. And this is not just for Margaret, this is for anybody who's practicing their driving, is to say what you're looking at. And you can also do a running commentary while you're taking your driver's test. I personally like a running commentary because then I don't have to think about what the students see. That was the driver looking at that? Did they see that they should be looking at and considering? Should they be covering the brake? Whereas if the student is doing a running commentary, they're coming down the road and it's like, oh, there's a pedestrian crossing, there's a pedestrian approaching the crossing, I'm covering the brake in case the pedestrian activates the lights and whatnot. So, you know, I like running commentaries, and it works really well because when we're learning something, if we're talking at the same time that we're doing whatever exercise we're trying to learn, the skills and abilities and techniques, it instills it in our brain, and it really helps to solidify those skills, abilities, and techniques into our head and our, physical, kinesthetic memory, right? Our body memory, because muscles, we have to learn how to drive. That's not just brain work, it's also body work, right? That we have to get into our driving as well. So if you can talk out loud while you're driving, it's really going to help you out. Jacqueline, thank you for your videos. They're very helpful. You're most welcome, Jacqueline. So glad that we can help out. Vaulted, I take my driver's test on the 7th of October. Good luck on that. Let us know if you have any questions. Vaulted will definitely help you out. I passed my road test. Thanks. You're most welcome. Congratulations. Where did you go for a little celebration after you passed your driver's test? Sheldon, what documents do I need when I change my address? Sheldon, usually what you need is you just need an envelope indicating that your new address on it. At least that's been my experience. It may be different where you are, but you're just going into the license center to change your address, right? So probably just a piece of mail that's been delivered to you with your name on it is going to suffice for you to change your address. I mean, in some cases, you may not even have needed anything, okay? So, Raptor, hey Rick, can I back out of the parking spot first to get the reverse parking out of the way for the test? Raptor, no, what I recommend to you is to back into the parking space. At the beginning of your driver's test, you're going to be really nervous. So you don't want to be backing out of a parking space into traffic. You want to back into the space, and then that way you can drive out, you can go around, you can develop a bit of rapport with the driving examiner, you can kind of calm down a little bit, and then when you come back, then you can back into the space. And this is another frequently asked question. It's not really a frequently asked question, but it's the thing that I frequently tell students. When you're backing into the space, it doesn't have to be centered, and usually there's concrete barriers behind the parking spaces that they have for driver's tests. Don't get too close to it. If you stay out a little bit, doesn't matter, you lose a couple of points, but if you back up too far and you strike that concrete barrier at the back, that's an automatic fail on a driver's test. Know that, because striking a fixed object or striking another road user on a driver's test is an automatic fail. So better to stay out a little bit than to back up too far and actually hit that. Al, I need my driving instructors, please. I need a few tips. Okay, so Ala, I'll just finish with this and then we'll leave it there for the night. Okay, so Ala, driving instructor is going to be the same thing as taking a driver's test, okay? Speed management, space management, observation, communication, okay? Space management is your most important. Don't get near anything, otherwise you're going to fail, okay? So correct stopping position at stop sign intersections, before the stop line, before the crosswalk or sidewalk, and at the edge where the two roads meet. Stop in traffic so you can see the tires of the vehicle in front of you making clear contact with the pavement. Never get closer than that for space management. Don't block an intersection. That's an automatic fail on any driver's test. Speed management, posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. Observation, you have to have your scanning pattern in place, which I've already talked about in the video. Backing up, 360-degree scan. Can't use a backup camera. Make sure you're looking out the back window. Lane changes, turning, 2 shoulder checks, one approximately half a block before, three flashes on the signal minimum, and then make your turn. And then communication, 5 ways we communicate with other traffic are lights and signals, horn. Use your horn sparingly because it's seen as a sign of aggression. Hand signals, make sure you use all 5 fingers. Don't tell them number 1 on a driver's test. Eye contact, and the most important way that we communicate with other traffic on the roadway is the position of the vehicle on the driver's test. So those are the most important components. Those 4 components for the purposes of passing your driver's test and your instructor's license test. Okay, lots of questions here still. Driving test in Ontario, November 30th. Yes, so for that, you know how to turn on the windshield wipers. Stop motion. I have my driver's test in a couple of days and I'm scared about waiting too long to turn when there are gaps. Yeah, stop motion. I would suggest that you work with a veteran driver and just go out, and that will definitely help you out. NICAS in Halifax Highway is part of the test, but I did not have to take it for some reason. Yeah, it's up to the discretion of the driving examiner, and that goes back to Margaret's question about whether their highway is available or not. Anthony, what happens after you fail the driver's test? Anthony, have a look at the video that I put up last week. Corey will put that link up for you. James, you're right. I'm new to your channel and you have been putting in the work and doing your thing. Salute. Thank you so much, my friend. Ben passed my test a few months ago because of you. Thanks, man. Ben, you are most welcome, my friend. Okay, and again, hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Leave us a comment. Send me an email. More than happy to help you out. All the best. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.